Understanding stylistics in linguistics. Stylistics is a word formed from the blending of two words, style and linguistics. Hence, to understand it, you need to decipher the meaning of the individual words that make up the concept. Style. Style, in general, is simply a way of getting things done, a unique way of doing things. It is unique because it is distinctive, that is, it varies from person to person, organization to organization, etc. Style has, therefore, been defined in many ways according to various premises, as you will see in the following sections: style as context/situation, style as choice, style as personality, style as deviation, style as conformity, style as discipline, and style as era/period. Style as context/situation. This refers to the appropriateness in the use of language on various occasions. That is, the use of the required language forms in different situations as demands it. Take for example, the way you address children, say fourth graders, will vary from the manner in which you address young adults or teenagers. For instance, you would want to refrain from using curse words and a vulgar vocabulary. Also, style as context refers to the variation in language use according to the field in question. There is what is referred to as legalese, language of law, journalese, language of journalism, language of politics, language of business, etc. Every field has a register which determines its language use, and it varies from other fields. The register of the law court varies from that of business organizations, which is why their style in terms of language use differs. Style as choice. Styles could also be a result of the decision of writers to write in some certain ways. The choice of language use or language format preference of the writer is also regarded as style. Language is dynamic, and so there are multiple options available to users in terms of what they can do with language to achieve their intended goals. So they make use of their language available to them in order to communicate their intended message to their intended audience, and create the expected effect on their readers. Writers like Naos and Cummings are examples of writers who distinguish themselves by their choice of language use. Style as personality. It is said that a person's personality is reflected in their writings, hence, the particular way a writer pens down words is regarded as style. If you pay close attention when reading the works of your favorite authors, you would notice the similarities in their pattern of writing, that is, those recurring motifs that are always present in their writings, that is their style. For example, works written by Chimamanda Adichie tend to have feminist tendencies. This personal variation in language use is what is referred to as idiolect in linguistics. Take for example, Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, William Shakespeare, all have unique writing styles that are consistent throughout their works. Achebe uses simple and easy to decipher vocabulary, while Soyinka is more complex in his use of language. This hinges on their individual personalities. Style as deviation. Style can exist in the form of deviating from the norm. That is, writings that appear to deviate from the norm. There are standard styles in writing. For instance, in academic writing, there are formats for letter writing, research writing, project writing, etc. Deviation is a kind of style that is achieved when a writer strays from the norm, from that which is regarded as being the standard, in order to achieve a certain effect on their readers while communicating a message. Note that deviation does not entail a total diversion from the norm, rather it is a way of creatively bending the norm to suit your creative goals, such as purgation of emotions, or achievement of aesthetics. Deviation is a style that can only be achieved when you have perfect understanding of the norms, which will guide you on how to effectively manipulate it to achieve your intended objectives. Style as conformity. Style could exist in the form of conforming to the norm. As earlier implied, the norm refers to the standards of writing depending on the occasion. For instance, in academic writing, there is a format for letter writing, that is, address, salutation, introduction, body, conclusion, and signature. Sticking to the standard writing formats is also considered as style, because like every other variation of style, conforming to the norm is also a distinctive way of doing things. So when writers write according to the prescripts or laid down rules of a particular genre, such is also regarded as style. Style as discipline. This is the variation of style that includes the field of linguistics, more specifically. In fact, it is not limited to the discipline of linguistics. However, it extends to the discipline of literature. Style in this context refers to writings that conform to the dictates of either linguistics or literature. Typically, writings in conformity to the field of linguistics try to be coherent and concise while communicating a message in a clear and easy-to-comprehend manner. Writings in conformity to the field of literature make creative use of language, not only to convey messages but also to create aestheticism and achieve certain effects on the reader such as excitement, pity, fear, anguish, etc. For instance, the style used by linguists in writing research works varies from that of the literatus in producing literary works like prose, drama and poetry. Style as era/period. Style can be attributed to different eras or periods. Just as style can vary by choice, personality, discipline, deviation among others, it can also vary by period. Different eras have their writing styles. For example, the writing style in the Old English period is drastically different from that of the modern English such that it is very difficult, if not impossible, to spot any similarities between them. The same applies to the Shakespearean era. Its writing style differs from that of the Victorian era. For instance, writers in the Shakespearean era wrote in verses until the Victorian era and subsequent eras during which it was improved upon. Stylistics. Stylistics, now, envisages the study of style in text whether written or spoken. It is referred to as the study of style in text because it is made up of a combination of style and linguistics, style being the appropriateness of language use in context, and linguistics being the scientific study of language. The blending of both concepts births the notion of stylistics. Stylisticians study texts regardless of whether they are literary or non-literary. That is, they examine both literary texts and non-literary texts. Their main aim is to uncover how writers mean what they mean in their text, put another way, how writers convey their messages. Stylistics is not literary appreciation where you pass informed judgments on how effectively or not a writer was able to render their work. However, it is concerned with unearthing how messages are conveyed. Two schools exist in stylistics, namely, the linguistic stylistics school and the literary stylistics school. The linguistic stylistics school examines text whether literary or non-literary with the aim of exposing how writers convey their messages. They do this through the application of linguistic methods like graphology, phonology, lexicology, syntax, semantics, and discourse features. The literary stylistics school, on the other hand, investigates only literary texts which they consider to be the only type of texts that are capable of style, due to their embellishments with creative use of language to achieve certain effects and create aestheticism. They are of the notion that style exists only in literary works, for example, prose works, drama works and poetic works, and so they carry out literary appreciation on such works, analyzing for such features as rhymes, use of proverbs, plot, etc. See you soon.